today's topic, we are going to talk about how to properly take care of your squirrel and how to milk one for profit and for pleasure.
Well, welcome to Random Conflux, where today, like usual, with a topic video, we ask, what do you want to talk about?
Do you want to talk about milking squirrels?
No.
Why not?
I don't think anybody wants to talk about milking squirrels.
Squirrel milk is going to be a large economic profit to the entire world. It'll be a new fad. Squirrel milk.
No, just no.
But would it taste nutty?
My brain has been broken. Okay, well, anyways, what I want to talk about is what's it like doing like small team productions. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on Random Conflux before, about me and my brother doing our own show and starting kind of our own little production group as Infernal Dragon Productions. Well, it's been a while.
Yeah.
But this type of topic isn't about like behind the scenes problems or any of that mumble jumble, but we can get into that if it helps with moving anybody else that wants to do like a production. And it could be something as complicated as coming up with like a script, making a cartoon, making an anime, or making a live action film, or as middle school as something like Random Conflux, where we really don't have a script. We kind of just go off the top of our heads, like if we're just talking between the two of us, or when Matt's around, we talk with Matt, just like how family or friends talk. And sometimes you end up coming up with discussions that, well, you think is kind of cool to talk about, and, you know, maybe other like-minded individuals may want to talk about the same topics.
There's been times where we've had good topics. There's been times where we did an entire topic and then pitched it because we didn't like how it came out.
Yeah, and it can be. This is more like how production actually works. And with me, I didn't go to a fancy acting school or like production school. I learned from my friends that were actors and kind of took me on and like let me see around the set, and I kind of got to learn firsthand like how things worked in that type of field. And when I came up with the idea of starting Infernal Dragon Productions, it really didn't even have a name. It was just like, hey, I'm really interested in kind of wanting to start a production group, and I really like your comics. Like, we can do something with that instead of just having a comic that nobody's gonna see. Like, let's build a world around that.
And I love the idea. I wish that my creative juices were a little more flowing. It's like, it's weird. It's like I was more creative at the beginning, then you've like shifted and you've gotten more creative because my brain just kind of shut down. And
well, that's also another thing that we're going to get into later in the thing, but we'll put a little announcement near that part because it does have to do with some hard things. No, stop it, YouTube. Don't think it. That's not where we're going with that. But, like, some things... Doggy, shut up. Like, stop it.
The neighbor's doggy wants to talk to you.
It can chew on a bone. But it's a serious topic. And we'll get to that, like, later in the video. But first... I really kind of want to talk about, like, what's it like starting out. As you know, I talk about this in my channel description on Random Conflux with JJ and with Matt on what Random Conflux is and what it is to us individually and together, and who, like, what would happen if I wasn't the one to, like, be around to run it, or, like, who would be the main person involved. And I think in that video, I say either one of us could run it.
Yeah.
At any given time, any of us could take the wheel, because we all, even though I'm the one that set it up, we all have, like, an equal value to the channel.
Yeah, and you and me go back and forth as far as who edits the videos.
And even Matt, even though he doesn't edit any of the videos, or even has the... I don't want to say he doesn't have the ability to edit. He just doesn't know how to edit yet, and plus he doesn't have the equipment.
Yeah.
But as well as I know Matt, and you know him better than I do, you would say that if he had the equipment, if he had the time to sit down with you and watch you edit, he could probably pick it up really quick.
Oh, he's fully capable, and if I can use DaVinci and edit videos, he can.
And, well, you also had schooling for it. You took a course for it in college. Mm-hmm. And that's also one of the things that I'm trying to get by is, like, you knew at a certain point, because of you taking that particular course, you knew at a certain point that that's the direction you wanted to take your life. But there was a point where that kind of stopped for you.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that later. At this moment, I'm just making a point.
Yeah.
And it's just to open the mind to speculate on, like, okay, well, this is something I know I want to do, so I know that there's a course for me to take it.
Yeah.
And I can take this and go further with it.
Yeah.
And not knowing that it's something you wanted to do until much later down the road, maybe because your friends are part of it, but you really don't see yourself as someone that would be good thriving in that field. And that was me. And at first, I really didn't think that something like this would really hug my interest for very long. Yeah. If hugging my interest seemed as a good way to say it. More like keeping my interest.
Yeah. Now, one thing I've noticed between the two of us when we do video editing, we both have different styles and, like, we excel in different areas. Like, for instance, my visual tends to turn out a little better. Your sound quality turns out better because you're better at handling sound and things like that.
Yeah. And it's something that we started doing, like, more as you're taking over the video aspects of it. Mm-hmm. I kind of alter the sound and make sure that it runs good before you even get it.
Yeah, because, I know how to handle sound, but what I think sounds good, you'll hear and be like, no, this is off. Let's do it better this way, and, like, set it things.
But that's my experience because at first I wanted to kind of be a band producer.
Yeah.
And no, not like a school band producer or teacher. I just wanted to produce music.
Yeah.
I wanted to write music and I wanted to produce music.
And you actually are a decent musician. You don't have the equipment right now.
Yeah. And obviously, those two things, your video background and what you learned in college, along with what I learned working with music and being part of my own band and just being around the equipment and the knowledge that I had to learn in order to think if I wanted to further myself into that path.
Yeah.
Which I definitely was going towards. Even if I couldn't do the band thing anymore, I know that there's plenty of things out there that would need something of audio, like an audio technician or someone that can do audio editing. and it was just something that I very much excel at. There's times where, and I'm probably, but when you're, any sort of production needs a video expert and a sound expert.
Yeah. And we're both good enough to do it on our own. We excel in different areas.
Yes. Or you can be like that one person that could do both at one time. And that's completely okay. But you don't have to feel like you have to have a big group in order to start a production.
No.
It could be as minuscule as just you in front of a microphone with a computer and finding tutorials online on how to edit videos.
Yeah. And like working with DaVinci, there's a couple times I've used tutorials. There's times where I've literally just wung it and figured stuff out.
Yeah. And this is more to like give a guide on what it takes to really do a production, come up with shows, and just what you really need in a minimum.
Yeah.
And then we'll go into like preparations on the differences between low scale media where you can be your own creator, like on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, clear up to like a mainstream channel organization, sort of like USA Network, Cartoon Network, Spike TV, list goes on.
Yeah.
And like you being your own boss compared to like having to follow rules of a channel and stuff like that, and like daylines, guidelines, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing you just need is the want to do it. If it's something you really want to do and you have a passion for it, don't let anybody tell you no. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Or don't let someone tell you that it's going to cost more than what you have, because it really won't.
So if I have a passion for looking random strangers on the street and like looking inside their face, can I tell?
No.
You said not to let people say no.
I'm talking about this discussion, man. Just no.
No, jokes aside though, like if you're motivated to do something artistic, just do it.
Yeah. And that goes back to the first episode on the channel too. Art.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're making a cartoon, a movie, a live action show, or like a documentary.
Or even gaming.
Gaming, or let's plays, tips and tricks videos on games, drawing videos, like art videos and stuff like that. Like if that's your passion, then go with it. Don't let anybody be a Debbie Downer and tell you can't do it. Because the only person that can tell you that you can't do it is yourself. And when you have the passion to do something, you don't take it to its fullest, then you're the only person you're really letting down is yourself. And in a way, is also a thing with my brother as well. And like I said, this is why we say we're going to talk about this more towards the end. Yeah,
we talked about some. We're not going to talk about it as in depth as we did in our depression video, but this falls into that a little bit.
But one thing you can do is break down like what kind of content do you want to make.
Yeah.
Break it down, figure out if it needs a script. Or let's say it doesn't need a script, but you need some sort of bullet guideline to follow. Okay, sit down, take the time. It could be anywhere. It could be in an office setting, it can be in a school setting, it can be in a home setting. If you have time and it's not interfering with your day-to-day activities, sit down for a second, think about what you're passionate about, and just put it on paper. It could be as minimum as a line to either start a word, or in an art session be a single line to make a tree. Mm-hmm. Or any of that sort. Or just like a line for a musical note. But once you actually get that pen to paper, the hardest part is because that's you actually taking the time to sit down and then finally putting pen to paper or pencil to paper.
Yeah, it's like when you write or when I actually am in the right zone to draw, you see me draw for hours before I get into that zone.
Yeah, but I've also seen you not do anything at all when it comes down to that.
Yeah.
But it's always, I can't do it, I'm in a slump.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the only person that saying you can't do it is you.
Yep.
Just like if I all of a sudden lose passion to write my scripts. Mm-hmm. Or I just lose passion working with wood or doing construction or just doing this channel in a whole, you would probably smack me in the back of the head and said, hey, get your head out of your ass and get motivated.
Yeah, and that's one thing I will say about this channel. It's actually gotten me back into a creative mindset.
And honestly, I'm just as depressed as you are.
Yep.
And for those that don't know, we are biological brothers. Same mother, same father, except we didn't grow up together. Mm-hmm. And recently we just lost our biological mom in February. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of one of the reasons why our content has dropped in some quality in the upload portions, not in how we actually edit or take these videos. Yeah. We take these videos as serious as we can, and we do try to think of topics that are okay for YouTube and not so remote that we have to like restrict an age limit on these videos.
Yeah.
Even though these videos aren't necessarily for kids, and I'm not saying that your kids shouldn't watch these videos because of the gameplay in the background.
Yeah, we don't make them. We don't simply make them for kids, but we make them safe enough for most kids to watch.
Yeah, like most kids that would probably be interested in these videos are kids that are like around 10 or up.
Yeah.
And it's because most kids under 10 really don't have the attention span to sit and watch the type of videos we make. Or they may not listen to the topic, they may just watch the B-roll. And that's completely okay with us. Mm-hmm. It doesn't bother us either way. Like, yeah, we tell you go ahead and comment down below. And we are serious about this because that's the whole purpose of these videos, is to engage with the audience.
Yeah, and when you guys comment, we do answer. We tell you, like, we'll say, like, thanks for watching the channel. If you ask a question, we'll answer it.
Yeah, and if you speak a language, I will find a way to translate it. I don't care if you speak Russian, Japanese, French.
Well, you speak enough Russian to kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that different from, like, German in a way. It's the culture's very close. Especially if you can understand Russian, you can pretty much understand that. Yeah, understand Bulgaria. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can understand Hungary to an extent. Mm-hmm. It's got a loose like connection to like a Russian language. Mm-hmm. But there are some minute differences, sort of like how there's different forms of English.
Yeah.
you have your UK version of English, and then there's different versions of it in UK. Like you have your Welsh, you have your like English, or you have like your United States English.
Well, there's
or
even differences in the U.S. as far as like how people
yeah,
talk.
it's like maybe someone in Texas has a different dialect in how they say a certain word.
Yeah,
I believe it's called a twang here.
Yeah, like it's even a... No, dialect's the correct term.
Or an accent.
Yeah. But, no, even between us there's a difference, because I grew up in Ohio, you grew up in West Virginia.
Yeah.
And there's slight variations there.
Yeah, even though it's not that far, there is that difference because and this is kind of moving off of the topic, but it kind of stays with the topic to an extent, but it has to do with the people around you.
Yeah.
And you pick up dialects, accents, speech patterns from the people that you actually talk to.
Oh, I pick up I pick up speech patterns easily because just it's the way I mentally think, and I don't think I shared this story with Random Conflux, but I told you before. I was playing Dragon Quest 8 in high school, and for like a week straight, not trying, I had a British accent. I had to break myself of a British accent. It wasn't intentional. Just
I think we've said that on Random Conflux.
Yeah.
Because I also remember saying during one of our videos, when it comes down to accents, I can't really do an accent, but I can hold a tone.
Yep. Now, back with voice acting. And here's the thing. When you learn an accent, whether you want it to or not, it will stick with you off and on. There's times where I slip into different things. Like, I'll slip into a southern sometimes. I'll slip into like that sometimes.
Yeah, but...
It's not intentional, but, yeah.
Sometimes people can pick up accents real easily. Sometimes it takes other people longer to pick up an accent.
Yeah.
But as a child, you're more acceptable to picking up certain accents or tones.
It's because you hear it. And
not necessarily. It's because you hear it longer. Like, if you're living in an area where, like, it's a heavy accent, you're going to pick that accent up.
Yeah. And I'll also pick up, like, people's verbal tics and things like that when I'm talking to them, and it's not intentional. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's another thing. And that's also with like, dialect and how people talk.
Yeah.
If someone's constantly over-exaggerating, like, a K sound when they say something that ends in K. Like, okay, or okay, or talk. Something like that.
Or Donkey Kong 64, when it loads up, it's like, okay!
Yeah, it's one of those things that you hear it long enough, and your brain kind of tells your vocal cords, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be pronounced. Or it comes down to how, like, say you have a speech teacher in school, they also push you towards a certain way of talking.
Yeah. Or sometimes I have to correct myself with pronouncing things sometimes, because I'm not going to say, like, where I work at, but I take care of people, and I have to stop myself from pronouncing things like they do with mispronunciations and things like that. I'm not going to go further into that because of HIPAA and stuff. It's just,
well...
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
We won't go to that. But, yeah, just sit down, put a piece of paper in front of you, put a pen or pencil in your hand, maybe even a marker or a paintbrush, and just make a line. And you're one step closer to coming up with a product.
Can I just draw lines on your face?
No. Focus!
I could draw you a beard, Zach.
Focus! But,
The Pokemon move Focus Energy? That's
no.
supposed to increase your attack power?
No, just focus on the video. Focus on the topic. And focus on the differences between a platform like YouTube or TikTok or like Facebook Live or something like that. Especially if you're just starting out. Don't be afraid to push yourself in that direction as a way to get started.
Yeah.
And then, if you feel comfortable and when you feel like you have enough to really work with, you can go to a studio like Turner Productions or Columbia Records. And no, we're not sponsored by any of those. They're just the first things that pop in my head. Or even like a streaming service like Crunchyroll.
And pitch your idea to them.
And just pitch an idea. Like, have a background. Not in you actually having a background, but have a background for a story. And just have the idea. And if you feel like you can't handle a team, we're literally showing you don't need one.
Yeah, our team is basically you, me, and Matt when he's able to help.
But majority of the time, it's you and me. Even when it's the production, it's you and me. So whenever you're down in the dumps, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and you usually want to get me motivated as far as like drawing and things like that. And I'm not afraid. I'm not embarrassed to admit that. It's like you usually give me a kick in the butt when I need to get stuff done.
Because I know you would do the same for me.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm acting in a way that you know I wouldn't act.
Yeah. Like even with the last topic video, and it wasn't because I was lazy about it, but I was getting a lot of the footage and stuff, and you're like, hey, this is too late. I mean,
you're taking too long, but that's also because you were also blaming work too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, if you don't think that you can handle it in the right amount of time, let me know. Let me take over, and I'll get it out.
Yeah, and the video did turn out good. Like, now this video, you probably will be editing, because there'll be a lot of, like, stills and things like that together. But with other videos, I'll probably edit and think back and forth. So
yeah. And this is the kind of portion where, in this video, we talk about a little bit more mature stuff. Stuff that mostly kids, teenagers, like young teenagers, they're not gonna sit around and listen to.
They might. I mean, they might go through this stuff too.
Maybe. But when you're working in a group, as we were mentioning, you don't have to.
Yeah.
But if you're working in a group, everybody in that group, doesn't matter who starts it or what your skills are, everybody involved is as important as everyone else.
Yep.
Meaning, with random Conflux, yes, it was my idea to start it, but it wasn't fully my idea to start it. I just pitched an idea to JJ. I'm like, hey, would this be okay to do?
Yeah.
Just to get my mind off of Mom being in the hospital and just kind of getting some creative juices flowing to help me work on my script better. And you said, yeah, you would be totally down with it. And you are.
Yeah.
100%. You are more focused with Random Conflux than you are with our production group. And that's not a bad thing. Not at all. You take the time to to edit the videos. You take the time to make it look good, even though you don't really follow the schedule. And we do try to put out these videos every Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's the way that the schedule is.
Yeah, and then I ask for your feedback on stuff when I am editing. Like, for instance, if I design a new logo for, like, a beginning of a Let's Play or topic, I ask your opinion on it, usually before I post it.
Yeah, and it's not that you lack creativity.
It's just always good to have a second opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
even with, like, for instance, even with our last topic video, I did the lettering a certain way, and you said, like, next time it would be better this way, even though you okayed what I was talking about before.
Yeah. And just very minute differences. With YouTube, you know that there's a time bar at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm just mentioning it for the people listening to YouTube right now.
Yeah.
There's a time bar at the bottom, and where you had it labeled for the differences, because it was for the remakes,
remasters, reimaginings, yeah.
Yeah. And that was last video we upload for the for the topics. And because of that time bar,
it wasn't the best place.
And there is a glitch with YouTube where the time bar gets stuck when you have it open for too long, or you have your hand on the mouse too long.
Yeah.
The time bar will get stuck.
Yeah.
And I haven't found a way to fix that. And I'm pretty sure other people ran into the same problem. And that does hide, like, if you want to know if it's, like, RE3 for PS2, and then Xbox version, or Xbox 360. They're not going to see that down below. So my idea was either show a flash of it before the gameplay, or have it, like, up at the top in a little corner, or up at the top in general.
Yeah. Or even, like, another thing for second opinion, I had for the Tony Hawk 2X footage that I had on there, what I recorded was a little bit blurry, and you were like, hey, redo it and upscale a little bit, and it actually made a difference. It looked a lot better.
Yeah. But at the time, you're like, well, it's fine. It's not blurry. I'm like, well, you're looking at it sideways. Of course it's going to be fine to you. But you sat up, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is kind of blurry.
Yeah.
And we both kind of just sat there and played Tony Hawk for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think I did a lot of Resident Evil 3, even though I really don't like that game too much.
Yeah. I got tired of the tank control, so I'm like, here, it's your turn.
And it was just bunching me running into a wall. Like, I don't like the controls either.
What do you think of the remake, though? Like, when you were playing that?
The remake was a lot better.
Yeah.
Especially how they positioned the camera, that was better.
And, like, I know there's people that aren't fans of the remake for RE3 because they cut some stuff out, and that's a fair thing to say. But control-wise, I do enjoy 3 more. I do enjoy the remake more.
I think 3 plays a lot like 7 when it's control-wise.
Yeah, 3 and 2 both play a lot like 7. That's what they went with. Like, 7 and, like, they took because they used the engine from, like, 7, 8, and to make, like
7 and up.
Yeah, to do the newer remakes.
Yeah.
Just third person instead of first person.
And that's literally the difference between a remake and a remaster.
Yeah.
It's literally, you have a new engine, you're taking an old game and putting in a new engine.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you have to take the original
and make something new out of it.
And kind of scrap it, but use the original as a source.
Yeah.
And that's what we were going with in that video.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked when you showed that sort of gameplay.
Yeah.
it's like, well, you can't really experience it for yourself by just watching it, because it goes from janky tank controls to a really good, like, over-shoulder shooter.
Yeah. And then for the originals, I don't know if you guys noticed, I used the GameCube one because that's probably one of the best ports as far as, like, quality-wise.
Yeah, and that's more of a report, not a remaster.
No, it's not a remaster in the least. It's just
or a remake.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is being said right now is because it's relevant.
Yeah, we're reflecting on like some of our past stuff, like things you can improve on,
and with Inferno Dragon production, that thing has been something in the works for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I wrote the script about 10 years ago for the main majority of it. Mm-hmm. And then I started writing the seasons, taking my time, and I got up to maybe the second season somewhere and ended up like losing all that work.
Yeah.
And I was pissed. And like I cannot for the life of me save those files. And my script now isn't anything like it was before.
It's actually a little bit better. You redid some things and
I think learning from first starting writing the script, not really knowing how to like lay it out and structure it, it was all over the place. Yeah. And if you could take a look at my notebook where I actually sat down and handwrote most of my script, at least for the seasons, I actually used an Acer 2-in-1 tablet / laptop. It was one of those that you could take the screen off and use it as a tablet. And that was my laptop at the time when I was writing the script. And it that was literally 10 years ago. And I was around 21.
Something like that.
22, somewhere around there. And I'm about 34 now. And it was literally inspired by me just liking your comics.
Yeah.
And just liking the drawing style. And
I
then
have a good drawing style.
And starting out, yes, I was very what's the word? Not good, but not really good. I was beginner.
Yeah, and
script wise.
And you've improved drawing wise and like writing wise and things like that. I'll honestly say that.
But as I was looking back at like how I wrote the script before and thinking in my head like how can I make this more understandable, it took a lot of trial and error, especially since I really didn't take a crash course in directing or script writing. I really didn't take a course for writing at all, except for like the high school courses. And out of between me and my brother's the only one of us that actually went to college to do what we're doing. And he actually doesn't use it as his main job. He focuses more in a different career path. But it was something that he wanted to do at a young age. Therefore, he set himself to make it a career option for him. So if down the road that he had the opportunity to start something like this, he would know how it works and what to do and the kind of position he would want.
Oh, speaking of something interesting that falls along that same path, one project that I was actually that I actually did for somebody, this older lady, she was writing like an autobiography of her life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she needed it published. She needed it put on a PDF so she could get it professionally published. And some of it was written, some of it was typed on a typewriter. But while I was typing it, I actually got to like read her entire like autobiography, and it was an enjoyable like technical writing job.
And
I made very, very minor edits. I kept everything like true to what she was writing. The only thing I did was fix typos if there was a couple. And I don't think there was maybe like 5 in the entire thing.
But going back to that paper, typewriter, laptop.
Yeah.
You can use whatever you got handy.
Yeah.
If I was away from my laptop when I was writing a script or working on a script, I took a notebook. Those that's not behind the scenes here may not understand what I'm talking about, but those that know me personally and been around, obviously...
You carry a notebook everywhere. So.
Yeah. And that's just so if there's an idea or I see something that strikes an idea in my head, there's no waste in that time to try to go back and remember, like, what was that?
Yeah.
That was a really good idea and I completely blew it. Now, I could just write it down when it happens.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Just having something there to capture your creative experience.
Yeah.
Or inspiration is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah. Or something I know some people do. I used to do it. Is people keep a notepad by their bed, and if they have a dream that gives them a good idea, they'll write down that dream. So
that's kind of what I was going by, but when you get a chance, when you get by your main way of writing down the script or whatever, like a typewriter, piece of paper, or whatever, laptop, desktop, you can take that notebook and then use it as a reference.
Yeah.
It could be something like, oh, I seen a kid dribbling a soccer ball down a park. Instead of hitting a goal, it hit a bench. And then in your head, you could go, well, I seen someone running down a field and they were kicking a rock. All of a sudden, they slipped on a banana and you could do something outlandish.
Yeah.
With just either a simple word or just a simple sentence. And most people don't realize that. And
that's my thing about reading, like when I read a story. And this is like my only complaint I've ever had as far as like schooling goes when I teach reading, is they want you to have one main idea of a story. You can take 100 different ideas of a story and consider that the main idea.
Actually, in my reading class, my teachers took it a whole different way. They say, here's one story. But how many different ways do you think that this story can go?
Yeah.
that's not being told.
Yeah. Exactly. And the abstractness of the story.
Also try to keep it as true to the original as possible.
Yeah, because there's an abstractness to writing, to where you can take, you can think of one story hundreds of different ways.
Yeah.
There's no wrong way to think of an idea. And
with me, when I write my scripts, I think about the things that really inspire me. Mm-hmm. Like, and I've said this before, I am a big fan of Power Rangers. Mm-hmm. I grew up watching Power Rangers. I grew up watching Beetleborgs.
And it shows us the same way. You can take it. People take so many different ideas, or they take like different inspirations for different parts of the show.
Yeah. Or you may just have an idea on a different way that show could have went. Yeah. And put your own spin on it.
And that's actually one reason why I like reading some fanfics and stuff. Seeing different people's takes on things, it's interesting.
And that's kind of like what I do with my script. Yeah. Many people can say it's a fanfic of many different things that inspire me, and it's true. Mm-hmm. But in a way, it also is a part of me as well. Mm-hmm. Like the main character, Sean. He grew up with...
Similar to how you did.
Yeah. He grew up not being with his brother. He grew up kind of knowing that, his brother was out there, but didn't really know where. Mm-hmm. Or kind of had this idea like, well, we'll see each other again someday. Mm-hmm. And, like, that's kind of Sean in a way, too. Mm-hmm. Like, and this is just a rough version of it, but Sean, he's living with his grandfather. Mm-hmm. He's learning martial arts. He hangs out with his cousins during the summer. Mm-hmm. And during one birthday, he decides, hey, I have to learn sooner or later, like, what happened to my family. Mm-hmm. Like, why aren't they here? Mm-hmm. Why are you the one that's kind of protecting me and keeping me under a tight leash?
I'm sorry, I was looking at the screen for a second, and I was freaking out a little bit because I saw a little dot, and I thought it was a bug on your screen. I'm like, what's going on?
Okay.
Sorry, but no, that's...
But it's like, even though it doesn't mirror my life completely,
there's aspects of it.
There's aspects that I took from my own life that I kind of shared with a fictional character.
And if you think about it, that's anybody who does writing takes aspects of their own life and puts it into the character. It makes it more believable.
Yeah. And...
like, the character's not 100% based off you, but you're going to take your own experiences and use them as inspiration.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where sometimes things that should kick you down,
they can motivate you.
You can also use that to motivate you, too. Yeah. The only way that something like that would truly keep you down is if you let it. And this is the part of the topic where I get serious, JJ gets serious, we stop joking around.
We actually aren't really joking right now. This is a serious discussion part.
This is why I'm saying this is the part of the video where we literally stop cutting the jokes and we take this a little bit more seriously. Yeah. And in the sense of how I handle the same thing that you're going through. Yeah. And push mine towards creativity.
Whereas me,
I
kind of just shut down creatively. And
where I use it as a fire, you use it as a shovel.
Yeah, and I kind of, like I said, mentally, I'm not going to lie, creatively, I shut down for a while. And Yeah, I'm just now getting out of it. And it's been how long?
Do you really want me to say?
Nah. You don't have to say it. It's been a while.
No. I think in a way it does need to be said because it's already been said.
Yeah, I already said in the video it's over 10 years. Yeah.
It's been over, not really 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it had to do with the first person to really pass that you were close with. Mm-hmm. That really started this downhill slope in your creativity. And I think the reason why when I ask you to draw something and I'm not right there kind of getting you to go with it and actually get started on it, and there's times where you say you're going to do it, you go home, it never gets done, you come back, you don't even have it started. And I think that's because you lost that person that gave you that inspiration to follow art in the first place. And that's what's keeping you held back. But by using that as an excuse, you're also desecrating that person's name too. Because you're taking what you both shared in common and kind of throwing it away. And if I did that, I know you 100% would probably kick my ass for it.
Yeah, and that's one reason I wanted to help you with this channel. It's like to get my head out of my butt and just kind of... And it has been working. Like, I've been getting more into the creative flow on things.
You do realize I started this channel before Mom passed.
Yeah.
And
you're still keeping it as motivation.
To be honest, I wanted to stop this channel. I wanted to stop this channel the day Mom died.
I remember you telling me about it. Yeah,
and I honestly did not want to do it anymore.
I remember.
And I was thinking in my head, like, I know we just started this channel, and like, because Mom passed, I don't really have any feeling for this channel anymore. I don't think I can come up with good topics. And this was all the shit I was saying in my head.
I remember we had a long discussion about it, if I remember right.
Well, I just aired a little bit of your dirty laundry. I'm going to air a little bit of my dirty laundry. Just so it's fair.
Yeah.
And so people understand the truth behind the scenes of Random Conflux.
Yeah.
And I was just, like, figuring in my head, how do I tell my brother that I no longer want to do this and I kind of want to put him in charge. And it was literally, I kind of, while you were driving, I'm sitting back thinking, what do I do?
Yeah.
I got no guidance. I got no person to go and talk to when I'm down on my luck, if I'm broken. Like, my rock is gone. But she's only gone physically.
Yeah. Like, you know she's always there with you.
She's not gone permanently. She's just gone physically. The way life works is life is energy. And as long as you can grab that energy, some way, somehow, that energy is always going to be with you. Yeah. But in a moment of full depression and just inner sorrow and a void of darkness, I didn't want nothing to do with this channel. But after taking a step back, I go, and this is me in my head, I go, well, Mom knows that I do this.
Yeah.
Mom knows it's something I love to do, and it's something I'm striving to do just as a creative outlet.
Yeah.
And if I stop this, my mom's going to kick my ass when I die.
And you did take a little bit of a backseat for a while, too. I was doing more of the edits.
Well, at the time, I actually pushed myself more.
Yeah.
And I had a burnout.
Yeah, and that's when I took a...
And I got frustrated at the editing process, and that's the part of the video that I didn't want to do anymore. Because it just got so tedious. But that wasn't Mom's fault for me being frustrated with the editing process. That was just my depression in a way. But I also had to kind of take a step back, because to keep myself from stopping or going into a downward spiral, because I knew if I didn't, that would eventually happen. Mm-hmm. If I didn't keep working on these videos, I wouldn't have any, I wouldn't have any inspiration to do these videos at all. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for me pushing myself towards it. And it was that I pushed myself too much.
Yeah.
And even you said that I was going above and beyond what I should.
Yeah.
Making content. Mm-hmm. And that was my way of handling something in a creative light, but
you were going too far.
Also going too far in one direction, where you went too far in the other direction.
Yeah,
but it both led because of the same circumstance.
Yeah. And honestly, though, you getting on me about drawing has been getting me more motivated to draw. I know you don't want to do that way, but
I also feel like when I do get on you, one of these days it's going to push you away from doing what you love to do. But you can't always be saying you don't have the passion for it, because the reason for your passion passing away, you're just taking what you admire about that person and you're putting it in the waste bin.
Yeah, and when you've told that to me before, and that's literally what's been getting me more back into doing it. Yeah.
And I feel like if we can talk about this together and get people to understand that, making a production is hard. Losing the people around you that gave you that spark of creativity, it's hard. Mm-hmm. And it's not just on one person.
Yeah.
When you're working with a team, it affects every member of that team.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to start something like a production, like we are, and people that are probably going to listen to this down the road, one thing that they have to understand is all the stuff that we talked about in the first portion of this video, but they also have to understand this portion, this ending portion. They have to understand that there are ups
and downs,
and there are way, way downs.
Yeah.
There's going to be super highs where you feel like you're writing pure gold, or you're making movie magic. And then there's going to be times where that creative spark isn't there.
And that's in a lot of different medias, not just us doing our topics. That's teachers teaching, because that involves creativity and being motivated to do stuff. And
they have a guidebook, they have guidelines to go by, but they have to put it in their own words, in the way that they understand the material that they're teaching.
And there's times when they get down. So I'm saying this for any kids that are listening to this.
And it does affect how they teach.
Yeah. Same with pastors and churches. I've heard of pastors getting so down they can barely stand to be up on a pulpit before, because they get so depressed with stuff, because it's a lot. There's ups and there's downs.
Yeah.
Pastors preaching, teachers, doing stuff like this, actors.
There's actors that literally take a sabbatical.
Yeah.
From acting for long periods of times after stressful roles.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, there's something that happened to Elliot Hedger after playing the Joker.
Yeah, he ended up passing.
Yeah, and it was just because he got so involved with that character and the life of that character, and he just felt like that was him. And I'm not gonna go into his whole entire life, but if you want to, there is an autobiography out. We have nothing to do with it, but there is an autobiography out.
It'd be a biography. Autobiographies if he writes it himself.
Huh?
Autobiographies, you write it yourself.
It's a biography.
Yeah.
Okay. I got my words mixed up.
Yeah.
There is a biography out that's about his life, and it leads up to the
everything that happened.
And the unfortunate passing.
Yeah, and like I said, it can be hard, but you have to find that motivation to keep you going, like not just in this, but in life in general.
Yeah.
Whether it's God, whether it's anything. You know?
Yeah, and it's one of those reasons why we're going to go ahead and put that into this video, because it shows, like, if you're really inspired or you really want to have a creative streak about you, it doesn't matter if it's art, music, like drawing type of art, because art is everything. Music, writing a script, writing a story, painting a picture, drawing stick figures, all of it. If you have a passion for something, don't let anything get in your way. If someone inspires you to do something, take it by the gonads and run with it.
But why would you want to run with a pair of gonads? That's kind of disgusting.
I'm talking about hanging fruit from a tree. Well, anyways, take it.
Nah, I'm just
take it with all you can.
Take it with all you got. And I think that's actually a good place to end this topic. What do you think?
Well, I'm not done with my little thingy.
Little thingy?
Stop it, YouTube. But it's what I'm trying to get at is take that inspiration.
Yes.
No matter what happened to that person that inspired you to have a creative streak. If it's like your mom or your dad or your brother or a stepbrother or an uncle or an aunt or whatever. Don't take something traumatic to pull you down, because that person that inspired you to be creative in the first place, you're not hurting yourself in a sense, but you're taking what you inspire from them or what you admire about them, and you're pushing it into the wastebasket. And it, to me, it's like kind of crapping on their legacy or what you like about them, and saying, I no longer care about this. And if that person was here, they would probably whack the back of our heads. Or whatever.
And like when my first brother passed away, it wasn't just creativity that shut down. I shut down completely for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, you completely did not call me at all. You blew off all my phone calls.
It wasn't just you. I blew off everybody. I just kind of.
But I also didn't stop calling.
Yeah.
And eventually, you guys so fed up, you answered.
Yeah, and I got back out of my funk, somewhat.
And I go, get your ass down here.
Yeah.
We need to do something productive. We need to do something creatively.
Yeah.
And it did help you get out of a funk.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, you're still using it as an excuse.
Yeah, and I'm just now getting better as far as like being over.
It's not just that. There's so many people that we've both have lost. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just like we're telling people watching that when they want to do a production and they want to do it with friends or they want to do it with family, anytime you're working with a team, it doesn't matter if it's a small team or a big team. Mm-hmm. What affects one person?
It affects everybody.
It affects everyone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm getting at with this bit of ending here is if you have to take a moment to step away, try to remember what made you creative in the first place. Try to remember your inspiration. If it was a TV show, if it was a book, or a favorite author, a favorite actor, or like say a best friend or a brother. Take what you enjoy about that person, that inspiration, and instead of feeling down about it, let it lift you. Mm-hmm. Do a project for them. Mm-hmm. Be like, okay, I'm going to go on a strand and say I'm JJ for a second. One thing Jay can do is be like, okay, well, I really like drawing, and this is something because I was inspired by my adopted brother because it was something he was wonderful at, and I'm going to take that in full stride and I'm going to dedicate a drawing just for him in the way that I see him. And maybe like with me, I'm more musically talented in the sense that that's my background. And my mom, our mom, knows that I love music. I love writing it. I love editing music. And one thing that I thought of when my father passed, and I know that our father was really good in music because I kind of grew up with him till the age of 5. And one thing I did to kind of remember my father is I made a song about him. I wrote it down and everything. And nobody will ever see it. It's just for my eyes only. But it's one thing that kept me going for my dad. And I did the same thing with my mom, our mom. And that's the best way to take some sort of art like this, like making a show or whatever, and kind of taking it into a way of really Jay, help me out with a word.
Like really like driving you to do it.
Like maybe that, like a pure inspiration.
Yeah.
But really upscale it.
Yeah. Like
taking something that you just admire about someone and then using that to keep you going forward. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, hopefully, like, everybody can learn something from this video, if it's just a way to get started or a way to keep from losing your interest. I just hope this video helps and is kind of a guiding light or a way out of some sort of darkness. Or even if you don't have any darkness, like, let it help you get started in a way to make a production. If it's movies, music, art, drawing, whatever. Think about what kind of production you really want to do, or what sparks your creativity, and then work around that. And just kind of use what we're saying as a way of a guideline. If there's anything you guys want to say in the comments down below about how you feel about what we talked about in this topic, if it's about someone that inspires you, write down who they are. It doesn't have to be their real name, but just write down that person and what you inspire from that person.
Or what about them inspires you?
Yes, that. I kind of want more people to like listen to these videos and really use the comment section below and like talk with each other. And I'm gonna keep saying this, even though this video is ending, it doesn't mean that this topic is. And
that's why we do part 2s and part 3s on a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, and this is not really a art/topic. In general, this was mainly like a push towards like production in general.
Yeah, and expressing like our creative
and like
juices and all that.
Yeah, creative juices, how to get started, how to get motivated, or if you already are motivated, taking that to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And also the fact that if you work with other people, your emotions will affect the people that you're working with.
Yeah.
And like even being inspired by someone and losing that creativity. And I'm sorry about pushing my brother under the bus here, but it's true, and he's not the only one that has lost someone, just like I'm not the only one that lost someone.
Yeah.
And hopefully more people out there can realize like the meaning of this video and like just allow the video to help inspire your creativity, not to let you lose that creativity. And if there's someone that inspires your creativity, we want to know who it is.
And speaking of inspiring our creativity, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you don't like this video, hit the dislike. Tell us why in the comments.
Or if you like this video and you think that something could have been said differently, or maybe the topic could have been put in a different direction,
give us some constructive criticism.
Yeah. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. And if you want more of our videos, down in your comments below, or in your notification box, ring that bell notification button. The more you like our videos, the more they'll be pushed towards you.
Yes.
The more you dislike certain portions of our content, the less you'll get those portions. Like if you mainly watch our content for the gameplay, then like our gameplay videos. If you kind of dislike a certain gameplay, go ahead, dislike it. You'll get less of that type of gameplay in your feeds. Or let's say you really want our topic videos, but you really don't like our gameplay videos. That's okay. Be like, hey, you do a good job with your topic videos, but I don't kind of like the gameplay. Or, hey, maybe you can take this type of video a different way. Just, it's YouTube. The way that this works is you guys are as involved in these discussions as we are. And it's not just buttering up to an audience. It's the truth.
But I cover the laptop in butter all the time.
Stop it.
You have to butter the laptop.
No. But it is the truth. We talked about what you guys want to talk about and asking that question. Mostly every time we start a topic video. And it's because we really care about what you guys have to say.
Yep.
Leave a comment down below. We enjoy reading them. If you have another topic on your mind, comment it down below. If you want to talk about a video game or movie or something that interests you, again, comment down below. Subscribe, as per usual. And I guess monkeys have uncles, and say goodbye, Vegeta.
Goodbye, everybody. For I have lived and suffered through this entire journey with all of you and with my belly button.